see Broadway's brightest light. Who's gonna be live with you in 5? They're a friend with Rye, and he's the Broadway guy. He's your Broadway entertainment BFF. It's Live with Rye and Friends on Broadway. He's a bundle of joy and happiness. He loves being here for you. He's a theater nerd who will share a word with a Broadway star. You, our guest, will have you on the floor. Your fave and and many more. Rye Myers, the gay Ryan Troopers, the Broadway and entertainment BFF. It's Live with Rye and Friends on Broadway, on Broadway, on Broadway.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome to Live with Rye and Friends on Broadway, the only Broadway talk show. How's everyone doing? So good to see everyone. Welcome. Thanks again for coming in. Listen, today is such an exciting day. We're here at the Broadway Makers Marketplace, obviously, at the Turnstyle Underground Market here at Columbus Circle, and we are celebrating a big day for this place. It is the 1-year anniversary of the Broadway Makers Marketplace. 1 year ago today, they opened. Listen, if you haven't come down here and visited in person, well, for those of you who are here, you're special because you come here often. This is your first time. Thank you. For those who haven't come, what are you waiting for? We've been here a year. It's been very exciting, and we're continuing the festivities through tomorrow. All weekend, we've been doing exciting things. So congrats to the Broadway Makers Marketplace. And for those at home, if you can't get to New York and you can't come to the Broadway Makers Marketplace, we're going to miss you, and you should still come, but if not, I know travel is not always possible. Go to the BroadwayMakersMarketplace.store and check out some of our incredible vendors. We've had some new ones. We saw our live stream earlier. Broadway Bubbles, which is an exciting brand new soap company we have. I'm obsessed with them and their soaps, and so much more. The theme song that you all just heard was sung by the incredible Alyssa Ray from American Idol Season 20 Top 9, composed by Jeffrey Schmelkin, and lyrics by the incredible Jay Brancato. And I do have a big announcement to make. I have my special guests announced for my second anniversary show. For those of you that recall, I was supposed to have my anniversary show on October 17th, and it didn't work out with scheduling, so we scheduled it for December the 11th at the Triad Theater at 8 o'clock, and I'm excited to announce that the guests are Robert Bannon of American Idol and SNL and The Real Housewives, and Alyssa Ray. Very exciting. They're both friends to the show. It's going to be a wonderful night. Tickets are now on sale. You can go to RyeMyers.com. Very excited. So let's get into some Broadway news before I bring out my guests. You know, every week I always do the Broadway news segment and talk about what's going on. Has anyone listened to Anne Juliet? Has anyone you heard it? Have you downloaded the soundtrack yet? So it just started previews. You heard it? Yeah. Did you like it? What's your first show? Okay. It's interesting. Awesome. Be honest. This is what the show is. And so Anne Juliet started previews this week at the Stephen Sondheim Theater, and they just dropped their cast album on Friday as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's this new modern take on Romeo and Juliet. It's very exciting. It uses some of our favorite songs from the 90s and 2000s. And I have to, of course, wish a happy 19th anniversary to the cast of Wicked, cast, crew, and everyone. Yes, round of applause for that. 19 years on Broadway. They're currently in the top 5 longest running shows. Next year will be the big 2-0. They're going to be 20 years next year, and I'll be looking forward to seeing what they do next year for 20 years on Broadway. Very exciting. Has everyone seen Wicked?
Yes.
Amazing.
No, but I performed in the theater.
I performed in the theater. Love it. Amazing. We have some big Wicked fans here. And also start spreading the news because New York, the new Broadway musical by composers Kander and Ed will open on Broadway in 2023 at the St. James Theater, which is right now where Into the Woods is currently housed. Very exciting. That's going to also have a book written by Lin-Manuel Miranda as well, who's contributed. It's opening on April 26th, with previews starting March 24th. And finally, we will suddenly be seeing more of Matt Doyle, Tony Award winner now, Matt Doyle. He is taking over as Seymour Crowborn in Little Shop of Horrors, replacing Rob McClure starting on the 15th of November. And Rob will play his final performance on the 13th. And with that, help me welcome my very special guest. I'm so excited to welcome her. She is a Tony Award-winning producer, but she is also the co-founder and co-creator of something so exciting and so spectacular that's making exciting waves in the Broadway community, the Broadway Museum. Please help me welcome my special guest, Julie Boardman. Woo! Hi, Julie. Hello.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for coming out. I'm so glad we got to make this work.
Of course.
And you have a special guest in the audience, a cute little dog. She's adorable. I'm so excited to bring you up one day, have you on the show. You're welcome anytime, love. Not had a pet yet. So, how did the original idea and concept for the museum of Broadway come about?
That's a great question. So I grew up performing. I've loved theater since I was 5 when I was in my first show in California, and so grew up with like the love of it. You know, when I moved to New York, I ended up performing on the national tour of 42nd Street. I did like all the actor stuff, and you know, ended up switching into the producing side of Broadway, and got really, you know, knew the business side of it and everything like that. And I guess the idea of a Broadway museum isn't a new one, right? It's an industry that's been around for a really long time.
It's instinctively created. Everyone's probably thought of it, but never acted on it.
Yeah, and it's interesting when my partner Diane and I started talking about it and kind of brainstorming and ideating on what could it be, what should it be, how do you tell the story, what story do you tell, like all those questions. We found out that there have been some, you know, various attempts over the years, but for whatever reason they never opened. And so we're really honored and fortunate and lucky to be the ones who get to do it.
Well, we're fortunate and lucky to have people like you in this world who put up pen and paper and actually did it and opened it. And it's opening, tell us the date that it opens for those who may not know.
So we're going to be opening on November 15th.
November 15th, very exciting. It's a few weeks away. So what will the opening celebration be like? I know you're finishing the last minute touches, but what will the opening celebration and opening week be like for those who attend? Because that's always the most special.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We have a ribbon cutting ceremony planned for that morning right before it opens to the public with a bunch of government officials. And then a few days before that, we'll do a little party for people who are part of the project and help bring it to life.
That's so exciting. And you've also had some great people part of this project. You have a great creative team attached to it, some of the best in the industry. How did you choose the creatives to be a part of this project? You know, there's so many of them. How did you curate that list?
I think it goes back to the storytelling that we're doing. So a little bit about like what you'll expect to see inside. So once you have come in, it's a time ticket. And you start in the room that's everything that's currently running on Broadway that day. So we help the playbill room, we're working the playbill. Yeah, when you look at the room, everything that's currently on Broadway that day will be in the room. And then as things open and close, we'll obviously change it out. So you start present day, then you go back in time into the map room, which is the theater's, basically their history. So a lot of people don't know that in New York, the theaters actually started in the financial district. So how did Times Square Broadway become what they are? I think it's a fascinating story. So we go through that history in about 4 minutes through a projection map video. It's very cool. Julie James has done the voiceover, and Jen Stepper curated the content.
Love that.
Broadway Symphonetta, recorded the music, and it's very cool.
Oh, you got me going. My Broadway nerd side of me is just like, oh, I can't wait. This is so exciting.
So from there, then you start walking the timeline of Broadway from the 1700s all the way through the present day. And when we get to certain shows along the way that help to kind of transform the landscape of Broadway, bring in a new audience, there's an exhibit dedicated to that show. And so for each show, we partner with a different artist, be it like an installation artist, a fine artist, or a Broadway designer to kind of bring that idea to life. So you do that all the way through the present day. And the storytelling really focuses around this idea of we stand on the shoulders of everyone who came before us. So had all these people not pioneered and broken ground and, been creative geniuses, we wouldn't actually have the art we have today. So we really focus on that throughout the museum, on plays, musicals, people, these groundbreaking moments. And then you get to present day. And then you knock on the stage door and you go backstage into how do you make a Broadway show and what are all the different jobs and roles that you could have. You don't have to be an actor. You could be a general manager. You could be a press agent. You could, be a dresser. There's so many ways to work in Broadway. So we're really excited to show people that. In that room, we're working with David Rockwell. It's going to be pretty fantastic. It's very cool. And then we have a special exhibit that will rotate. And then from there, you go back into the gift shop. We've got that giant oversized toting awards that we're going to take that photo of.
Oh, wait, is that the big one that we see sometimes at the JFK? That huge toting one?
Yeah, it's the one that's at the Tony, so we'll have it for them.
Oh, is that
throughout the year.
At the Tonys? Oh,
Except for on Tony weekend, we're basically holding for them.
that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's kind of the museum in a nutshell. But the idea is really, it's what you expect a Broadway museum to be, but then told in this, in terms of like content and costumes and props and, all the renderings.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's that, but then it's a hybrid of that with, the Instagrammable, immersive, interactive, experiential museum that I think people love today.
Well, I mean, how exciting does this sound? I mean, I know we've all heard about it, but how exciting to have this museum. I know these are all theater lovers and nerds, and we have so many people here, but I mean, I'm sure you all are so excited to finally go, right, and see this. And when you were designing this, what made you decide to go more interactive with this museum compared to just doing like artifacts on the wall, and here's this picture, and here's this, set piece? What made it decide to be more interactive? It just makes it even more fun.
Yeah, I think my partner Diane and I, so we've known each other for about 20 years. We went to college together. We've worked together for 10 in a totally, I work in Broadway on the producing end, but I also have run an event staffing agency for the promotional marketing events for big brands since 2009.
Busy. Love it.
Yeah, I like to stay busy. And so we worked together a lot on different fan activations for Game of Thrones and Marvel movies and all sorts of different properties over the years. And so it's kind of taking the idea of those fan activations and I don't know, it's how people like to consume content now. So taking that idea and then, the visual storytelling, I think, really brings these shows to life in a new way, but you're also looking at the historical artifacts.
Yeah, and it's a very smart way to do it, and very, as you said, Instagram-able. And that's today we all like to have our content that is that we can touch and feel and see. So it's really exciting. Obviously you're in the business and in producing and stuff, but you've kind of put on a new hat on the business end when you've launched this museum. So what have you learned on the business end of opening a space in Manhattan? There's so much that goes into it. I know now is probably one of the exciting times as we get ready to actually open it, but was there something that you took away from that process of getting the permits, getting the space, finding it, that sort of, you learned something from that you were able to take with you now in your day-to-day?
Yeah, I think I've learned so much. A lot about real estate and construction, actually, more than I ever thought I would ever know in my whole life, probably. But we're basically renovating 4 floors of the building to make this happen. So, but I think finding the space was probably one of the most, time-consuming pieces, the biggest piece of the puzzle, I think, because we needed a home. You can't make a museum without somewhere for it to go. So we were really fortunate to have landed where we did.
And what made you decide on the space that you're at now? It's so exciting. It's right in the heart of Times Square. It's on 45th Street, right? Yeah. So what finally made you find this home? Was that decision to go there?
Yeah, the location. It's right off of Times Square, but it's also accessible for people who don't want to walk into Times Square. But
us New Yorkers.
we're right next door to the Lyceum, which is the oldest continuously operating Broadway theater, which is kind of a nice story to be located next to. The space actually used to be an Irish bar and office space, so that's what we're converting.
That's exciting. Well, I actually have, we're going to do some trivia for the audience, and we actually have something exciting. We're going to be giving away 2 vouchers for the Broadway Museum. I'm just going to do like a range and get you information, but each voucher is for 2 tickets, and I'll get you information, and the team at the Broadway Museum will be in touch about when you can use them. So, as you all know, every week I do trivia. Don't worry, you do not have to take part, Julie, but you're welcome to. But I guess that, or also, I mean, you're going to be very fair. But I always say, you're welcome, if you know the answer, you're welcome to take part. But so, we were talking about the Broadway Museum earlier. When is the Broadway Museum opening day?
The 15th of November.
Yes, the 15th of November. I will give you, I will get in touch and you'll have the 2 tickets. So keep an eye out for that, okay? I'll get the information from Dad, okay? Congratulations, love. Exciting. Very exciting. And we'll do for one more. Alrighty. So as you know, today is the first anniversary of Broadway Makers Marketplace, which is so exciting. It's been a great year, and I'm so honored that I was asked back in April to bring my talk show here, the only Broadway talk show in all of New York City, and one that is free. So this queen of the castle stopped by here one day on her way to a show and has now become a Broadway Makers Marketplace regular. Who is that queen? Queen of the castle. That gives it that. There's a hint. Brittany Mack. Yes, congrats. Let's hook up, and I'll get you your information, and you get a voucher to the Broadway Museum. Congratulations. Yeah, Brittany Mack. Have you seen Six?
Yeah, I have. I went to the opening.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, she came in here. Michael often tells the story because we get a lot of Broadway people that come in. And she was looking around. She had a Sharpie out. She started signing stuff.
Oh, that's
some of the Six stuff. And we were like, Michael was like, oh, can I help you? And then it was Brittany Mack, and now she's become a friend of the store. And so very exciting. Congratulations. We'll do some more trivia later. I have a Beetlejuice cup here to give away. So on the producing end of stuff, I find producing and co-producing so exciting. I think there's so much that people can learn from it, especially fans. So what made you get into the co-producing end of stuff with Broadway? How did that come about? I know you learned stuff, but where did that turn to doing producing?
Well, I want to creative produce, actually. So that was my goal and my dream, and put the shows together and come up with what they might be, what they could be, what the stories were that we were exposed to, right? So, but I realized that I started co-producing when I was a younger female in this industry, and so I needed to kind of establish myself and a track record and show that I could raise money and do all of the things that I need to do to be part of a show and make friends and so yeah.
Well, and how can people get involved as a co-producer in sort of today's world of producing? One of the things I find always so interesting is, obviously for those who don't know, if you're a co-producer, there's 2 routes, and if I get this wrong, please tell me, but I've learned pretty much from this, there's 2 routes to be a co-producer. You can obviously, if you have a lot of money on your own, you can sign the check for the show and you get your name in the playbill, or you can, raise the funds, and if you raise the funds for the show, you get to be a co-producer. So, as we talk about accessibility and equity and access today, how can more people be involved in the show, especially if they don't necessarily have those funds though, or want to get involved in that? What would your what is your advice with that?
Yeah, I think, part of co-producing and just being part of the community is going to a lot of readings and going to workshops and starting to make friends and kind of build a network. You're correct that you can write a check yourself, or you can go and raise it. And I think a really valuable lesson that someone told me was never, if you say you're going to do something, make sure you follow through. Because you kind of only have one reputation, right? So you want to make sure that someone knows that they can rely on you, that they can trust you, that you will follow through. And so a lot of that is just, when I first started, the first thing I raised money for was the non-equity tour of Dream Girls.
That's amazing.
But it was a lower bar to entry
of course,
in terms of how much I had to raise. And so I asked a friend, and he said yes. And then, I became part of this project, and then it kind of one thing into the next, and here I am.
And here you are, totally award-winning co-producer. I mean, how exciting! And so, what upcoming show are you most excited for this Broadway season? It could be anything, whether you're a part of it or not. Is there a show you're most looking forward to?
That's a hard question.
Yeah, there's so many. You can choose more than one. no pressure.
That's a hard question. Well, I'm really good friends with Martin and Rye, so I'm going to see her show this week, Cost of Living, but I've heard really great things. Yeah, so I guess that might be top of mind right now, but I'm a Tony voters. I have to go see all the different shows. So.
That's exciting.
It's really exciting. That was like a dream of mine.
Right? Do you become a Tony voter just by being a co-producer, or do you have to, is it something you have to get asked sort of to do?
That's a good
It's so
question.
you hear about Tony voters and stuff.
Yeah.
I know agents could be and managers and like casting directors, but I'm curious.
Yeah, there's a lot of different rules. You have to be a member of the Broadway League, and then you have to become when you become a full member there, I think you get letters of recommendation, and then you have to, hit certain benchmarks in terms of raising money to be part of certain shows, or you're the lead producer, or, I think the Broadway League has all the information on their website.
Yeah, for sure. So of the current moment, of the shows that are currently on Broadway, do you have a favorite that is currently running that you would just sort of see over and over again, whether it's a feel-good show or a show that is just your favorite that's currently playing?
Yeah, I think two. One, because I'm involved in Funny Girl, and I think Leah Michelle's performance is...
Have you seen it with Leah?
Yeah, it's incredible. She's really, really talented.
Selling out every night.
Yeah, so that.
Yes.
And then I think MJ.
Yes. Has anyone seen MJ? Yeah. Has anyone seen Funny Girl? Yes. Have you seen it with Leah yet?
Yeah.
You've seen it with Leah?
Yeah.
Amazing. Wasn't it incredible?
Wow, it felt like I was in an episode of Glee.
Isn't it great? I know. And MJ is terrific. If you haven't seen that, yeah, I've seen it 3 times and I'm going to continue to go back.
It's really inspirational.
It is.
Because you get a deep dive into his creative process.
Yes. And also informative too. Like I didn't know. I knew he did his the history tour, whatever. No, the Dangerous tour, but I didn't know all of the stuff around that. That he was having financial trouble, and the storms didn't happen, and so all of that then leads into what we know about the show and all of the fun dance numbers. If you're around tomorrow, the MJ is doing a Halloween performance. If you dress up, I think we're doing a costume contest. We're doing a never before seen opening. Never before seen finale. Yeah, it won't happen again. So very exciting. So you're also working on a lot of projects yourself too, and from the producing end. Aside from the Museum of Broadway, and I know there's a lot that you have in development or you're starting to work on development. Is there something in the works that you can talk about that you're really excited about, or something? Or is there a type of work that you're, whether it's a musical or play, or?
It's a great question, and it's one of those ones that you can never answer.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm developing a play right now, but it's exciting. I can't talk about it, but it's really fun. But otherwise, the Museum of Broadway is full time and way more than full time, and it's nice, and there's so many pieces going into making this museum right now that that's all I can really focus on.
Well, but it also must be so exciting too, to sort of take that hat as the lead producer, because that's what I would say you also are for the museum, is you're the lead producer of this. Has that fueled you even more creatively? I mean, to now be a lead on this exciting project, something that I think is probably bigger than any Broadway show. I mean, you're opening this massive space, so has that sort of made the way that you look at things creatively different now going forward because you have this experience now in that?
Yeah, I guess so. It's a good question because I think the project is so fun because we are the lead producer.
Yes.
So, the marketing and ad campaign and all the pieces that a producer would touch, and all of the raising the money and all these things that needed to happen. But we are also basically the creative directors also. So, I'm in the space and we're figuring out where everything goes and how it goes, and then what color should this be, down to the fixtures in the bathroom. It kind of runs the gamut, and just coordinating. We're working with a lot of people in the Broadway community to bring this to life, and it's people's life work, right?
It is.
So these shows and the exhibit around the rooms, so we're always working with the different estates and to be really respectful, and we have one area that really highlights the dramatist, and so we went to every author to make sure that they were okay with us using the pages of the script, and so each thing is very lots of details, but
Yes.
a lot of fun.
That's really a lot of fun. And how has, at the end of the day, how does this all connect to the fan experience? Like how, these fans on Broadway are unlike any other. We have so many things. We have the Broadway Makers Marketplace, we have Broadway coming, all these big fan things. So at the end of the day, how is this fan experience truly going to, be called home for fans? This is their calling at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think, I think people know their Broadway history. Some people don't know their Broadway history. I think there's a lot of stories that haven't really been told that we're getting to highlight and people. So that's really exciting. Our resident historian, Ben West, has done an incredible job of curating the timeline walls as you're walking through. But yeah, there are these little Easter eggs for people who, might think they know everything, but we hope to stumble on quite a few things as they go through. But then I think also if you've only seen one Broadway show ever, maybe you've never even seen one, hopefully, you'll learn also. And I think one of the interesting things that as you're walking through the timeline kind of places you in what was going on in the world, right, at that time, and that really informed a lot of the theater that was created. So, it's
a love letter to Broadway.
When you come through.
Yes, it's a love letter to Broadway. I can't wait to
Love
come.
letter to Broadway.
And I think it's special too because it does show people, even for those who may be visiting as tourists, who maybe don't get to see Broadway, or maybe they see one or two Broadway shows a year, or nothing at all, how vital Broadway is and important it is to the heart of New York City and Times Square, and the history that Broadway has provided for this city, and things that they may not realize how interconnected Broadway was just to the heart of good old New York, New York.
Yeah, you see the art form develop as you walk through, which is pretty interesting too.
Yes.
And then I think there's a lot of mentorship that happen with a lot of the writers. So you see, you can kind of watch that thread as you're walking through and reading.
It's exciting. Well, this is probably going to be tough, but then there may be a few, which is okay. But what is your proudest accomplishment in opening the Museum of Broadway as a producer, as a person, a lead producer? What's been your proudest accomplishment so far?
I think getting the real estate.
Yes.
And signing my name on the lease, that was a big moment, I think. And just, bringing the community together to have a space that really celebrates Broadway. I'm excited about that.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting, yes. Well, let's do, before we close out, let's do our final trivia question. This is going to be for this awesome, exciting Beetlejuice, especially comment says Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. We all love Beetlejuice. Oh, and it says Showtime on the side, so we've got another exciting trivia question here. Alrighty, so going back to Broadway Makers Marketplace trivia, if you've been listening, Michael's mentioned it all day. How many vendors are currently a part of the Broadway Makers Marketplace as of today? How many vendors? Pick a number.
20 to 50?
Not close. It's 52. That's okay. 52. That's a lot. 52. That's totally okay. So we'll do one more. So this will be multiple choice. Who starred as Dorothy in the original Broadway cast of The Wiz? Was it A, Diana Ross, B, Donna Summer, C, Stephanie Mills, or D, LaChanze?
See.
Stephanie Mills?
Yeah.
Yes, Stephanie Mills. Congratulations. There you go. What's your name?
Lorcan.
What is it?
Lorcan.
Oh, Lorcan. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. Well, Julie, thank you so much. I could sit here and talk to you all day. As someone who just is in love with Broadway, I'm sure as you know, and as you are, that you created something like this, I just think is so special. And the bottom of my heart from everyone here, from the entire Broadway community, thank you for creating this. You have touched and will continue to touch so many lives with this. I'm thrilled to have been able to give everyone a little bit of a look at it and continue to, keep in touch with you and everything you're doing. You are an incredible person, and thank you for taking the time today to talk to us more.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. And as we close out, again, next week, I'm very excited to welcome the incredible Kayla Piccioni, who is currently in Some Like It Hot. She's going to be here next week, which is so exciting. I'm very excited. Thank you again to Julie. Today, again, is the 1-year anniversary of the Broadway Makers Marketplace. So congratulations to Broadway Makers Marketplace again. If you have not yet come to this place, you need to come out here. If you can't get out here, BroadwayMakersMarketplace.store. So many new and exciting things, and they just keep getting added. And again, December 11th is my second anniversary show, the second of the 2 parts of the anniversary show, live with Rye Friends On Broadway, live at the Triad. Tickets are on sale, especially at RyeMyers.com. And it's going to be great. My guests are Robert Bannon and Alyssa Ray. And you'll see on the screen, if you go to the museumofbroadway.com, right, is the website. And you can follow Museum of Broadway on Instagram and TikTok and social media. So make sure you check it out. Get your tickets today. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations. Thank you, Julie. Let's give a round of applause again for Julie Boardman, everyone. Thank you so much.